Okay, sorry, we were here February, yes, in this exact spot. There's about 18 of us. Yeah, yeah. And okay, so we've been asked to take this down. In normal times, it would be a different issue, but so it's a bit awkward at the moment, which is a pity. Where am I? No, it's okay. Get it down. Just if you. No, it's okay. Got it. It's a pity that we have to take it down because political protest shouldn't have to be banned at the same time as people are in there voting against our freedom of speech. So in a sense, this is not allowed to use megaphones either. Apparently, we brought a megaphone to lambast. What is it? So it's okay taking stuff off street furniture. We're all for that, but we should be able to lambast. We should be able to lambast. Okay. Right. Thanks. Bye. Okay, folks, we put that amazing leaflet thing up on the amazing leaflet up on the thing. And what exactly did he say to us? What can we do and what can't we do now? We can report from here. We can't demonstrate if we
can't use the megaphone. We can't put anything on the street furniture.
We can't use the megaphone.
As long as we're here legitimately on business.
But as long as we're here legitimately to report, yes, as we are reporting to the world. So, folks, if you're watching on Facebook, please share it on Facebook. If you're watching on Twitter, please share it on Twitter. If you're watching on YouTube, please share it on YouTube. A couple of police officers came over there.
The officers have also looked at our publication, Force for Good, and they're satisfied that we're carrying out.
Right. Yes. So we brought along a copy of our magazine, Union Heart, and we showed it to the police officers, and they are happy that we are simply doing our job as reporters. Okay. So we're doing our job as reporters in front of the Scottish Parliament. Now, why are we here at this moment today? In there, they are voting on the anti-free speech law, which is, they call it a hate crime bill, euphemistically. And unfortunately, it's going to pass. Now, it was begun by Humza Yousaf, who's the so-called Injustice Secretary. It was begun by him last summer. A Force for Good put in a very big presentation about why it was wrong. We're not going to go through all of that. You can find that on our website, forceforgood.uk. However, it went through the committee stage, and today they are in there voting to ban our freedom of speech. And this law will make it a crime, basically, to say something in the privacy of your own home that they don't like. If somebody were to report you, for example, you could be up on a charge. And the thing is, what the worst thing about this is it has a chilling effect on generally the ability of people to say things. I mean, I'm watching everything that I'm saying whenever I'm speaking to you right now, whereas I could just be totally lambasting this guy, right? But we've already had a couple of police officers over saying we can't even demonstrate, we can't even protest against this. Now, I've said it before and I'll say it again. The right to make laws should go hand in hand with the right to protest peacefully those laws. Okay, when they're making laws and at the same time prohibiting any kind of political protest, then what kind of society are you living in? You're living essentially in a totalitarian society. Somebody said to me earlier, it's a grey area at the moment, just before we enter the darkness. And this is where we are at the moment, okay? This is the scene outside, behind me, outside Holyrood, as they are voting on one of the biggest, most dangerous threats to our freedom of speech, perhaps ever in the history of the United Kingdom. And to get here, we walked down the Royal Mile and we passed a really good statue of David Hume. Now, David Hume was one of the fathers of the Scottish Enlightenment. Okay, the Scottish Enlightenment. That was in the 1700s and 1800s. And during that time, there was a rise in consciousness and an intellectual consciousness. It was after the Union and it was after the Jacobite Wars. And essentially what happened was that Scotland settled down. And so people had more time to contemplate the universe. And so you had the Scottish Enlightenment in the 17 and 1800s. Right? Now, that where is David Hume's legacy today? It's being absolutely thrashed and trashed in there. His memory is being trashed. The Scottish values of free speech and free thought and freedom of inquiry and reason and rationality, these have been thrown to the wind by somebody who is simply putting this through Parliament as an intellectual weapon against people like you and me, people that he doesn't like, people he wants to shut up. And if he could move the barriers to include just people talking about the union, for example, or people talking about stopping immigration or things like that, he would do so, and that's what he wants to do so, okay? So he's going to get this passed. Folks, please share on Facebook. Please give us a thumbs up on YouTube. Please share on YouTube. Please put this link out. Please retweet with a comment, and we'll retweet you. Okay, so this is what's going on. That's what's going on in there at the moment. Okay, they've abolished the right to protest, to politically protest. Okay, the coronavirus regulations say that you can't gather with more than 2 people. Okay, so I've got myself and my assistant with me at the moment. Okay, that's the only 2 people that are allowed to do anything. 2 people will that, and as far as actually protesting, that's forbidden. That's forbidden. And if I brought out the megaphone, which we've got, because we were going to lambaste that a monstrosity over there, if I brought out the megaphone, I could risk arrest. Okay, so the police have been good, however, and they've said you can at least talk to the people and you can at least report what's going on. So, and we gave them the time when we'd be out of here. So, thank you very much to the police for allowing us to at least do that. But what an absolute farce! I mean, everybody in there who votes for this, every single member of the Scottish Nationalist Party, every single member of the Scottish Cabbage Party, they have to lose their seats. And if any Labour or Lib Dem people are voting for this, you should not be getting our vote at this forthcoming Scottish election. Okay? So you need to be distinguishing yourself. You need to be standing up against this, and you have to give us a reason why we need to vote for you at this particular election coming up. Okay, so there's basically nobody outside at the moment. We took a photograph of a poster that was up there on the lamppost, and when this is over, we will we'll fire that out on Twitter. Now, I'm not going to stand under there because it's too dark for the light yeah, but you can certainly stand under there if you want. Right. Okay. So basically, Humza is in there along with his colleagues in the Scottish Cabbage Party, and they're going to try to bring this in today, and they're probably going to be successful. So what are we going to do? Well, we have to punish Humza, okay? We have to get Humza out, because there's no way this Injustice Secretary should be allowed to absolutely trash Scottish values in this way. Okay, we need to give Humza the heave. Okay, and we can do this, and I'm about to explain to you how we can do this. Now, Humza was elected in 2011 as a complete unknown on the regional list. Now, in 2016, he was elected in Glasgow Pollok by a significant majority, it might be said, and he was also on the regional list. So if he didn't get in at Pollok, he could have got in on the regional list. This year, he's not on the regional list. He's only standing in Pollok. That means if he loses his Glasgow Pollok seat, then he will be out of Parliament. So this is our campaign. We're going to give Humza the key. We're going to get Humza out, and we are going to ensure that he gets punished. He gets metaphorically spanked on his little bottom for doing this to Scotland, okay? We are going to take that man and spank his bottom and say, don't you ever do that again. It's time you grew up and you got a proper job, okay? And what kind of proper job could Humza get anyway, you see? He's one of these guys who's basically unemployable, right? He's unemployable. He could maybe get a job as a villain in a Steven Seagal movie, for example. Or maybe he could get a job working for the DVLA, ensuring people have got driving licenses. I know he's got experience in that field. Or perhaps he could get a job as a car insurance salesman because he likes to drive cars without insurance when he was the transport secretary. So we need to get this man a proper job, which means that he needs to lose his seat in Glasgow Pollok. And we can do this because we just need to get more people coming out to vote in Glasgow Pollok. In 2016, Humza was elected on 25% of the overall electorate, okay, in Glasgow Pollok. That's because 54% of people did not bother to even turn out and vote, okay? So Humza was elected on 1 in 4 people in Glasgow Pollok. 54%, over half did not even bother to turn out to vote, okay? So if we can get that turnout higher up in Glasgow Pollok, Humza could be in trouble. Also, the other two reasons that he got elected in 2016 was because at that time, the SNP were riding a wave, a crest. He was riding the crest of popularity that the SNP was enjoying back in 2016. And thirdly, nobody knew who he actually was, okay, in 2016. Nobody knew who he was, and he was riding the crest of the SNP wave. Well, this time round, the SNP are not riding a wave. They are, in fact, drowning in a cesspit of their own effluent, right? They're drowning in a cesspit of their own effluent. So he's not going to get as many votes as he got last time. So with more people turning out, with more people knowing who he is and the nature of what he is doing to this country, and with the SNP going down in the polls anyway, then we can get this guy out. And wouldn't that be justice? Wouldn't that be just reward for what he has done to this country? So we've got to give Humza the heave. We've got to give Humza the heave at the Great Scottish Ejection. The Great Scottish Ejection, not election, the Great Scottish Ejection. We're going to get Humza out, okay? So folks, please do share this. We want as many people as possible to be seeing it. And look at that, isn't that terrible? Not anybody at all protesting what's going on at the moment. Democracy only works when you have lawmaking allowed at the same time as the right to peaceful protest. Peaceful protest and lawmaking go hand in hand. And when they're not hand in hand, then you do not have democracy. You have incipient tyranny. Okay, how many other laws could they make? How many other laws could they make at this time? And it's not just the Scottish government, it could be the British government as well. Okay, how many laws can they make under the excuse of COVID, under the excuse of some disease or a virus or something? They could bring in anything and they could ban protest on that basis. Okay, so this is what we're facing at the moment, and it's not good. It's not good. So one way of at least showing how annoyed we are is democratically to ensure that we do not vote for any of these people at this coming election, and we do not vote for Humza, and we ensure to get Humza out. Okay, ensure to get Humza out at the Great Scottish Ejection, and we purge the Sturge, we give Humza the key, we get Swinney in the binny, and we make Angus Robertson the soon-to-be forgotten one. Pass it on. Is that coppers over there with machine guns at the door? It's going to go in. Yeah. Right. Dottie says, we need to show the preciousness of democracy by using our votes against those who are anti-democratic. Derek Hartley says that he never knew who Humza was until this morning's broadcast. That's Foster Good Morning broadcast, which is Good Morning UK Have Your Say, broadcasting every Wednesday at 10:30 on our Facebook, Twitter and YouTube channels. Lynn says, respect from Wales, well done. Evelyn says, thank you again, frontline. Guys, we couldn't do this without any of you. Thank you, Margaret. Good stuff, folks. Do please share, and do pass on the message that we need at the Scottish ejection. We're going to get Humza out. Okay. Now, one or two points that I want to make just regarding the election, which is coming up 8 weeks tomorrow. Okay, is you need to be registered to vote if you're not registered to vote. So if you're not registered to vote, you need to get registered by the Monday, the 19th of April, okay? And if you know people who are not registered to vote, then please get them registered to vote. You know, if you've got 16-year-olds, people who will be 16 in your household by 6th of May, they're eligible to vote. So make sure they're registered. And if you know mates who don't like sturgeon, but they always go, oh, I can't be bothered to vote, make sure they're registered. Get them down there yourself. Pull them down to the polling station, and let's get those votes in, because too many people in Glasgow are not voting. And if people who really dislike sturgeon and Scottish nationalists and the Scottish Nationalists Party, then we would win easily. Okay, it's just that there's too much apathy. Well, let's not be apathetic this 6th of May, Thursday the 6th of May. Make sure you're registered and make sure you can vote. And let's get Humza out and let's purge the Sturge. Let's get Swinney in the binny and make Angus Robertson the soon-to-be forgotten one. Now, how to register to vote. If you're not registered to vote, you want to go to gov.uk register-to-vote, and all the information is on there. Okay, so I'm just going to keep that up there for a little while. That's where you can get the information if you're not registered to vote. Okay, and if you're not registered to vote, then your vote is not going to count. Your vote's not going to count, and these people behind us are going to keep getting away with what they're doing to this country. All of the parties. We're not. A Force for Good doesn't support any particular political party. That has to be known. And we don't support any Prime Minister or First Minister or whatever just because of the political party. We are completely non-party political, but we don't like the Scottish nationalists, okay, because we are British and we love the United Kingdom and we want to stay together, okay? So yeah. People will say, well, Alistair, you know, I'm SNP. I'm Scottish Patriot. Yes, so are we. We're Scottish Patriots as well. What would I suggest? If you voted SNP last time around and you still like the SNP, simply just don't vote for them again. Just don't vote for them this time round, because every time you vote for them, you are endorsing them. You're endorsing what they're doing and what they've done, and you're endorsing this. You're endorsing the police knocking on your door as a consequence of a private conversation in your own home. Okay, that's what they're voting on in there at the moment. And so if you vote SNP, or if indeed you vote for anybody who supports this today, and we're gonna list the names. Believe me, we're gonna list the names of the people who vote for this bill today. And if you vote for any of them, you're basically endorsing what's going on at the moment. How come not a single politician in there has pointed out what I've just pointed out, which is that democracy can only exist hand in hand with the right to peaceful protest. And if the right to peaceful protest is forbidden, then you don't have a democracy. And right now, the right to peaceful protest is forbidden. And can anybody seriously look around at this and tell me when this is going to end? Can anybody seriously tell me when this is going to end? Okay? How's it going to end when the right to peaceful protest is being forbidden? We have to think about that, and we have to just wonder where we are going, especially with this law getting put on top of everything, which is going to try to silence everybody. So, folks, please do share, retweet this on Twitter. That's important, and do subscribe to us on YouTube, because we need to get this out. And who else is speaking? Who else today has been down here? The police said there was 1 or 2 reporters earlier today, but it wasn't front page news of any of the newspapers. I checked. Unfortunately, it should be. People should be outraged by it. And of course, also remember, don't vote Green, okay? Because the flower pot man who leads the Scottish Cabbage Party, right, is a sour vegetable. He's a wonky vegetable, okay? And he's well past his sell-by date, and he needs to get in the bin, okay? Like all wonky vegetables or sour vegetables past the sell-by date, you need to put them in the bin, okay? So we need to get Harvey in the bin as well. Not just give Humza the key, but get Harvey in the bin. And, you know, I describe him as a wonky vegetable. Is that hate speech? Is describing Patrick Harvey as a wonky vegetable hate speech? You know, I hope it's not. I hope it's not. But if he's offended by that, then what's to prevent him telling the police, I'm offended, that man called me a flower pot man, and he called me a wonky vegetable. I'm offended. Arrest that man, you know. And that's just, you know, I've got a lot more with them, where they came from, but I'm keeping them quiet at the moment because I don't want to get arrested. But seriously, a lot of police in this area. Let's move along a little bit. Yeah, wonky vegetable Harvey. Oh, did you see him last night complaining about the guys in George Square? Oh man. And here's another thing about the Greens, right? They're not interested in taking on Big Pharma. Like, I support ecology very much, and I used to be a natural health therapist, and I understand how the immune system works, and I understand the importance of building your own natural immune system, and eating well, and all that kind of stuff. Like, these are genuine green issues. Whereas, and also understand as well the danger of big corporations, and it looks like one of the guys are coming over here. I also understand very well the dangers of big pharma, okay, and the corporate system that enables. And so, where are the Scottish Greens in talking about the dangers of big pharma? Okay, there's a couple of folk that were in front of the Holyrood. I'm leaving my assistant to deal with them. He's very good. So yeah, where is big pharma in the green analysis? Okay, they're simply going along with it, and they're just Patrick Harvey's useless party is supporting big pharma right now. Okay, you haven't heard a word from any of the useless, miserable Scottish cabbage MSPs about how to eat well, about how to build your own immune system, about how to, any kind of skepticism about what's going on at the moment at all. Again, choosing my words very carefully here. Any skepticism about what's going on. You have not heard that at all from the Scottish Cabbage Party, aka the Scottish Green Party. So they're absolutely useless people as far as the ecology goes. They're absolutely useless as far as standing up for Big Pharma is concerned. They're an absolute disgrace. Absolute disgrace. The Scottish cabbages are way past their sell-by date, and the Scottish Green Party has to get in the bin. And we have to make sure that none of them get elected either, because they're just like miserable Republicans, okay? Miserable Republicans who just want to destroy the United Kingdom. I'm going to talk with my colleague here to find out what the caucus was saying. What was the news from the caucus there?
They were quite happy as long as we were reporting the
Okay. Okay. Okay, they're quite happy apparently as long as we're simply reporting on the activities which are happening in there, which is what we're doing because we can't protest. I can't. We brought the mega along, the megaphone, and we were going to like lambast them, which is what I'm saying to you, but through the megaphone. But what? Who knows? I might like spray COVID particles all over the building, and wouldn't that be terrible? Oh my, COVID particles on Holyrood building. Give the concrete a virus. Could only improve it. Okay, so 6th of May, time to give Humza the heat, time to get Humza a proper job. Okay, get Humza a proper job. What are our suggestions for Humza when he loses his seat? When he loses his seat in Glasgow, what are our suggestions for what he could usefully do? What could he usefully do? That man, really. I mean, talk about unemployable. Oh man, absolutely unemployable. Oh well, that's good. You know, you just have to learn how the other half lives. Just checking anything that I need to say. Send in your comments, folks, and um, please also share. Okay. Yeah. Good to see Greg in. Good to see Martha. Good to see Evelyn. Margaret says you could sell the big issue. Well, I tell you, the big issue sellers do a much better job than Humza's ever done, and the big issue sellers are, in fact, much more valued to society than Humza has been. I mean, he has done nothing. Susan says, Big Pharma are making a killing at the moment. They won't tell you how to improve your immune system or how important exercise and fresh air are. Absolutely. Well, just walking down the Royal Mile, the number of like government propaganda posters is just like it is frightening. Actually, it is frightening. Stephen says Greens, not one could win a seat. That's right. They can't win on constituency seats. They only get in as a consequence of um, the list system. So don't give your second vote to the Greens. Don't give your second vote to the Greens because, as Thomas says so well there, the Greens are Sturgeon's puppets. And in some ways, the Greens are even more nationalist and Republican than the Scottish National Party. And Elaine says, hope we get rid of them and get our friendly country back. Absolutely. As James as James says, the Scottish Greens are a puppet party used by the SNP to maintain a majority in Holyrood. And Susan says the Scottish Nationalist Party are national in name only. They do not care about the nation or the people of the nation, and they certainly don't care about the traditions. We were talking there about the Scottish Enlightenment. And good to see a great comment there from Eddie. Great that you're out at the key place on a very important day for standing up for our freedom of speech. Well done. Well, thank you, Eddie, for that lovely comment. Ray says, it's a disgrace that this nonsense ever got as far as a vote. And TC says AFFG, that's a force for good, fighting for our union. Angus says, well done. Well, you know, we would have liked a lot of people here. We could have organised a really good protest. We could have organised a protest that would have been attended by scores of people, if not hundreds of people. But of course, we can't do that because we'd be the bad guys. We'd be in trouble if we did it, because peaceful protest has been forbidden under the present Scottish dispensation. And where are the newspapers campaigning against this? Where are the newspapers saying that we should still have the right to peaceful protest, that peaceful political protest should not be forbidden? It should be an essential. If you're living in a democracy, then it is in fact an essential part. It goes hand in hand with lawmaking. It goes hand in hand with lawmaking. And the lawmakers in there should not be allowed to make the law at the same time as they prohibit the right to peaceful protest. Okay, peaceful protest and lawmaking go hand in hand. And when you take upon yourself the right to make law, but to also prohibit any kind of protest against it, then we're living in a very grey area, heading towards a very dark black area. Okay, we're living on a kind of totalitarian slide, and I'm not actually being exaggerating when I say that. We've still got a little light at the end of the day. We've got this election coming up on the 6th of May, and if enough of us get motivated and we can get out, get a really good big vote to purge the scourge. Okay, we need to purge the scourge. Purge the scourge. Hashtag purge the scourge at the Scottish ejection. And we need to give Humza the heave. And we need to put Swinney in the binny. And we need to make Angus Robertson the soon-to-be forgotten one. Yeah, it looks like dead, but in there they're voting. In there they're voting to basically to destroy our freedom of speech. We'll find out just how the vote goes maybe later this evening or tomorrow. But right now it's dead, just like the dead minds in there that think all of this is okay, that all of this is right and proper. Folks, please support what we are doing. Please support A Force for Good. You can do that by sharing this video. You can do that by subscribing to our YouTube channel. You can do that by retweeting this. Please retweet this. And please also, if you can, if you can help us in any way, please do so. Please contact us. Contact at aforceforgood.uk. Just looking here to see lots of comments coming in, and thank you for that. Thank you for that. Folks, we're going to say goodbye just now. We've made our point. We've made our point. Give Humza the heave. Look out for the picture, that the poster that we put on the lamppost before the police told us to take it down. Look out for that. We're going to be, we'll put that on social media in the next hour or so. And there's the flags behind us. Union Jack and this saltire flying proudly. And there's some other flag in there for some reason, not sure what that one is. But nice to see the Union Jack and the saltire up there. Yeah, Scotland's Parliament, eh? Crikey, what a joke. Okay, folks, remember, on Thursday, the 6th of May, at the Scottish ejection, it's time to purge the scourge, give Humza the heave, put Swinney in the binny, and make Angus Robertson the long forgotten one. Yo, I'm out of here. Word to your mother.